Hi everybody, it's Tatiana, and today I'm coming to do my January wrap-up. I had a pretty decent reading month for the month of January in spite of it being a difficult month. I read a total of 5 books for the month of January, which was a pretty good reading month. I did participate in about a book, and I have my wrap-up for that I posted, and I will link that above if you're interested in checking that out. The first book that I read this month was Walk on Earth, a Stranger by Ray Carson. I've actually already had to return that to the library because it was a lease book, and I have a full spoiler-free review of that recorded that will be uploaded soon. I said that like twice, but I mean it this time. It will be uploaded soon. Then I also read The Girl of Fire and Thorns, also by Ray Carson, and I really enjoyed this. As the story progressed, I became much more engrossed in it than I thought was going to happen just with the start of the story. Yeah, I'm not going to do a review of this, but I will say if you're interested in reading it, it is YA fantasy, but it was very enjoyable to read, and once you get to the climax, the story just moves, and I didn't want to put it down. I wanted to go ahead and finish it. I really enjoyed it. Then I read Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Groudon, which is an alternate history YA fantasy, somewhat novel. I don't think it's really fantasy. It's got some fantastical elements in it, but it's an alternate history where the Axis powers won World War II, concentration camps are still a thing, and the main character in the story can shapeshift. And that's about as much of it as I am going to share as far as the story goes. It was enjoyable. It wasn't what I was expecting, and I don't know if that has to do with the fact that it was an alternate history. I didn't dislike it, but I was not as engrossed in it as I was in the Ray Carson novels. And again, a lot of things were going on. That's not to say anything negative about Ryan Groudon. I have not heard a lot of reviews about this book. I'm not doing a review about this book. I want to try another story of hers before I actually form an opinion about her writing. I do plan to read The Walled City probably later this year. So yeah, it wasn't that I didn't enjoy it, it just wasn't what I was expecting, and I don't know if that had to do with the author or the fact that it's an alternative history novel. And this is the first alternative history novel that I've ever read. So yeah, there are a lot of those that are coming out this year though, so I would have another opportunity to give that a try and see what the issue actually was with me getting into this. I also read Lumberjanes Volume 2. I didn't like this as much as I liked Volume 1. There were some elements in it that happened in this novel or in this volume that just weren't my cup of tea. I still liked what I like about this. I've said before, it reminds me so much of the Salute Your Shorts show from the 90s, and I like how each character has, has their own personality, and they shine through. You don't have to work to figure out who each person is as far as what their character is, what their personality is, and I really do enjoy that. And everybody, they're all friends that work together and enjoy each other's company, even though they are all very different. And so that's what I really like about this. I am going to go on with Volume 3 when that comes out, but yeah, a couple of the last issues that were in here, I didn't like the way that the story went. And then the audiobook that I read for this month was Dragonbane by Sherilyn Kenyon, and I have absolutely no idea what count that is in her Dark Hunter novels. I absolutely adore her Dark Hunter novels, and what I will say about this one, because the Dark Hunter series is a companion series, so you can read them in whatever order that you want. It's not necessarily something that's going to be spoiled, and the formula is pretty much the same for each one, so you know what's going to happen no matter which story that you're reading. But the thing is not allowing it to get old. And what I had to do was start spacing the reading of some of them out because they were getting so predictable that I wasn't taking any enjoyment from it. It wasn't that they were bad, they were just getting predictable. So I spaced them out, and I don't read more than 3 a year, pretty much. But I remember saying in one of the other videos when I talked about reading Dark Ghost, the most recent release from Christine Feehan, and how much I did not enjoy that, and that I think I'm getting just out of reading that series because the stories are not as enjoyable, and I am not having that issue with Sherilyn Kenyon. I have also read some of her Born Up series. She has a Bellador series that I have not gotten into, and I'm also reading her Chronicles of Nick series, and that is on my TBR for February. I really don't have a February TBR other than to finish the books that I started in January, and then whatever else happens. But I am reading Inferno, which I believe is book 4 or 5. I think it's book 4 in the Chronicles of Nick series by Sherilyn Kenyon. I have that on audiobook as well, and so I'm reading that a little, listening to that a little here and there as I do things around the house. So it's taking me a little longer to get through it than it normally would because I'm not on the road. I'm also reading the biography of Alexander II. I don't know how I feel about that biography up to the point where I'm on page like 102, and the first 100 pages were a labor. While I got some good things out of it and some information about the Romanov Empire that I did not know, like where the whole issue with the revolution and rebellion began, how that really began, I didn't know some of that, and so that information in that first 100 pages was good. But just talk to me about Alexander. And if you don't know, which you may not, Alexander II is Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia's grandfather. And so I know a lot about the history of Nicholas and Alexandra. I'm a little obsessed with Nicholas and Alexandra, have been since I was about 11 years old. And so I just decided that I wanted to know a little bit more about the Romanov history than what I have gathered over the years. And I've never read a biography about Nicholas II, so I really want to get more into that, and I don't know if it's this biography that is the problem or this author of the biography that's the problem, but I'm hoping that now that I'm past the build-up, which is pre-Alexander II, and then his childhood and teenage before he becomes the reign, I hope that now that I'm in the part where he is Tsar, that I enjoy it more, because I already know how he died. That much I do know. The ways that that Romanovs die are pretty what's the word? Are pretty scandalous. Like, very few of them die. Most of them are murdered, if that makes any sense. Most of them were murdered. Very few of them died of their own bodies of old age. So I'm not reading it to get that. I want the little itty bit, the little stuff in between. But there's commentary and like anecdotal comments and things and stuff in this, and that's what I'm not liking. And then the third book that I am currently reading, and this is the first time in a long time that I've done multiple books at one time, and I'm really enjoying it and not getting the stories confused at all. I used to do this back in elementary and high school, and elementary and middle school, and once I hit high school I just couldn't do it anymore once required reading got into the bit. But I am also reading The Architect's Apprentice by Elise Shafak, which is on my phone. I'm reading through the Overdrive app. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. If you can't see it, then I will take this out. So, a good reading month for the month of January. Of all of the books that I read, I only own one, and that is the graphic novel. Everything else came from the library. I need to get back into reading my own books. I need to read my own damn bookshelf. Yeah. Hashtag read your own damn bookshelf. I gotta get that under control and stay out of the library, and hopefully using the Overdrive app will help me do that, because I'm a lot more careful about picking books to read on overdrive than I am just going to the library willy-nilly to find something. So, yeah, that's all that I have for today. How did your month of January go? Did you read anything? What did you read? Did you like what you read? Talk to me in the comments below, and I hope you have a good weekend whenever you see this video. Peace out.